Inforce just released a new weapon-mounted light that is completely different than their original designed flashlight. This is the new Inforce weapon-mounted light. We had these early pre-release for a while, being able to test these. I'm gonna give you all the information you need to know about these and if this is a good option for you. Inforce has one of the best designed weapon-mounted lights on the market with their original WML, but they had a ton of problems was the issue. They had a lot of flickering problems. They did not stay on very well. The battery life wasn't good. The output wasn't the best, but the design was incredible with these because of how they fit on guns, how easy they were to articulate, no wires. You had a lockout, you had momentary and constant on, you had IR versions as well. Now they did come out with some newer versions with their Gen 3s where they had a metal head on them and those were much more reliable, but I think a lot of people had a bad taste in their mouth for the longest time because of them and kind of set them off to the side when it came to a weapon-mounted light. Now, they came out with a new design, and these ones fix a lot of the problems they originally had. They're a lot more durable, they don't flicker, they're much brighter, they have better run times, and it's a different design for those of you that want to try something a little bit different or more common when it comes to the normal weapon-mounted lights. But it's different for Inforce, but it's more common to what you're used to seeing with a weapon-mounted light. So this here is the 18350 version. This is the 18650 version. So you have a small version and a large version. They have different outputs. I will be putting all the information right here. You're looking at 1400 lumens and 90,000 candela for the big one and 1200 lumens and 75,000 candela for the small one. In my experience, they were bright. They look great. I'll be showing you guys a ton of B-roll here. And I will say the camera does not pick up flashlights at nighttime incredibly well. So what you're seeing, just know to your eye in person, it is going to be better than that. Now these batteries are rechargeable. You're looking at 2 hours and 45 minutes for the large one and 45 minutes for the small one. So it's quite a big difference there. So you're getting more than 2 hours longer with the larger batteried Inforce, but it is a significantly bigger flashlight. Now, what about the size of these? So as you can tell, these are a little bit larger. So these are bigger than your Surefires and your mod lights. But if you're familiar with your cloud offensive flashlights, they're much more comparable to them. So they're not much larger. But for those of you that really like to have an IR device and want as compact as possible, this might not be the best option because I know with like the cloud defensive range, I do sometimes stay away from those optics. How I'm going with an IR night vision setup just because with the Surefires and the mod lights, you can tuck them in a lot closer and bring everything up front a little bit tighter. With these larger headed flashlights, you just can't do that because they're a little bit wider. Again, I'll be showing you guys some B-roll of these so you can see exactly what I'm saying and the comparability of the different lights on the market. Real quickly, let's get into my relationship with Inforce. They did send me these. I did not spend my own money on them, and I am going to be getting some of the post-production ones as well because these are pre-production. They're about 85–90% finished when I got them, just for me to give some input to them before they finished with the full production. So the companies that are incredibly nice, incredibly helpful are Brownells and HRT Tactical. I want to thank them so much for everything they do. They have been incredibly helpful, and would love if you guys would go to my website, tacticalvisor.net, and you'll find out ways to be incredibly helpful to them as well. Tacticalvisor.net, link in the description. Let's get into this video. Now when it comes to the cross compatibility, now this one's a little bit odd. So I decided to switch some things around to see if I could swap different parts because everybody is going to want to be able to throw on their favorite Surefire tail cap, and that is what most people ask when they're looking at a new flashlight, and most new flashlight companies would be smart in making them compatible with your Surefire tail caps. Now I will say, this one does work for your Surefire tail caps. I cannot say Surefire for some reason. It works just fine with those. But what I'll say is taking off the tail cap of this to put on a Surefire, that doesn't work. So there's something there that they have on their tail caps that will not work on the other flashlights. Not sure why. I tried it with a mod light and I tried it with a Surefire. Both would not work with their tail cap, but my Surefire stuff does work here with the Inforce. Which I'm going to say that is a really wise decision because who is going to get rid of their flashlights that they trust the most with the Surefires and the mod lights because of the compatibility with all the different tape switches that Unity Tactical and all the other brands come out with already. It's smart just to be able to make your flashlight compatible with it right from the rip so no one has to then buy all new flashlight and all new tape switches. All they have to do is change the flashlight if they really want to change it. The bodies are also compatible with your Surefire style mounts. Again, another good decision on their part. Now they're going to stick out a little bit farther. As you can see, this actually sticks out quite a distance away from your rifle on that angled mount. And the reason they had to do that is because the heads are larger. They had to make the posts that connect to your rifle or your mount have to stick out a lot farther. So that is kind of a downside that sticks a little bit farther away from the rifle that I like. I like to have everything as tight as possible, but when you get a bigger head like that, shooting for as much candela and output as possible, that is just a downside to that. These have a constant on and a momentary as well if you just do a light push. You can lock this out by doing a quarter turn. That prevents anything from working if you want to put this in a bag or store it away. This is made from 6061 T6 aluminum. It is hard coat anodized, and they are waterproof up to 20 meters. Now that I've showed you a bunch of B-roll of these lights and gone over all the details, let's go over my experience with them over the time that I've been able to test them. I did some cold weather testing where I left this out overnight and in cold weather, and it did not really have any effect on it. The battery life, it was still fine. It was still working. Didn't have any flickering, didn't have any issues there. So I was happy to see that, and it was 17 degrees that night and snowing. So it did hold up well to the cold weather. I've done a bunch of testing where I went down to the range and just left these on constant and then just went shooting. Now I will say this small one did have a couple moments where it dimmed or it did like a little flicker, but these are not the full production models. I got these at pre-release. These were the prototypes. So these are about 85–90% complete. They did some work to the connections on the top and the bottom of these flashlights with the actual ones that are coming out. So I do not personally have a full production light right now. I am getting sent a couple of them, so I'll have them here soon. So I'll be able to give you an update on that during the quick draws that we do. Those are a bi-weekly video that I do where I update you guys on the current things we're testing. But so far with the prototype versions that we have, we had perfect success with the full versions, the 18650, but I will keep you guys updated what we find when we get the full production models. Output itself was very good for me. I was able to shoot at distance. I was very comfortable with the output. I think the lights themselves compare really well to your Surefires, your mod lights, your Cloud Defensive. And again, you'll see a ton of B-roll of me showing these lights. That's the best thing I can do in a light review. You know, just show you guys the light. I like how tactile that button is. I think they did a good job with that. Really easy to do the momentary and release if you want to. They will have their own tape switches on the release as well, and they have their own mounts. So if you don't want to run anything yourself or what you have personally, you can run the stuff that they come with from the package. Looks wise, I wish they went a little smaller with the head. That would be my only critique with these lights. Other than that, I think these lights are really, really nice. They did a good job with the design. They made them look sharp. They made them look modern. They really went completely away from their original design, which is cool. They have now options. The original design by far is the best design light on the market, in my opinion. I just wish they worked as good as they looked, because my goodness, those lights look incredible, and they work for so many different builds. Like the Scorpion that I showed you, it just fits that build really well. Now I will say the Gen 3s have functioned much better in my experience, but it did leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth with the originals. But these ones so far, I'm really excited to see how they do, especially when people start getting a hold of these and really putting them through their paces. But so far in my experience, I'm very happy as a Gen 1 prototype version to see that they went this route, and I'm excited to see what they do as they get more constructive criticism and what they do with the Gen 2s. Hopefully this video is able to help you make a better purchase decision to decide if this is the flashlight for you. This is exactly what you're looking for. Maybe you want to wait until more people try them and they get through some trials and error, and you decide later that you want to get them, or maybe it's just not the light for you. That is always my goal, to help you spend your money in the best way possible. You want to spend it in the correct way with confidence, and that's always my goal. If you guys are looking up about the channel and the things I do here, there's a couple ways to do that. Down in my description is a link to my website. That's tacticalvisor.net. From there, there's a lot of information there on ways to be able to do really cool things, and I would love if you guys would check that out. And Howitzer Clothing, they donate 5% of proceeds to charity, and they've donated over $2 million, and we have a Tactical Visor t-shirt. I would love for you guys to pick one up yourself. Link in the description. Other than that, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Make sure you check out my Telegram and my locals, both in the description. You will have a lot of information there on giveaways and some other things that we're doing. I appreciate you all. Have a great day.